The sound of something breaking made Sarah, who was in the kitchen, jump. She was counting her pots of braised fish on the shelf and quickly rushed upstairs. What's going on? Who broke something? When she reached the living room, she saw her husband, John, sitting on a chair, and in the corner opposite him, the ashtray was shattered. She stepped forward. Good heavens, what are you doing throwing the ashtray like that? It's glass, what if the children step on it? John glared at his wife, clicking his tongue. Leave it, I'll clean it up later, you don't need to worry. Sarah first noticed the lottery results on John's phone screen. She immediately guessed the source of his anger. You're gambling again, aren't you? Gambling what? No, I'm not. You can't hide it from me. I've told you many times. We're not rich, you keep taking money to those bookies. Every time, money and valuables in the house just walk out the door. You just lost millions on the football match. I didn't say anything because I wanted to keep the peace in the family. But you have to know your limits. What kind of example are you setting for our children? Oh, you're starting that song and dance again. I'm sick of it. It's my money, I'll spend it as I please, you don't need to interfere. If that's how you talk, then I give up. Sarah shook her head, picked up the broom from the corner, and swept up the broken glass and cigarette butts. John didn't sit there anymore. He shoved his phone into his pocket, grabbed a pack of cigarettes, and walked outside. Without needing to ask, she knew he was looking for a place to drink. It didn't take long for John to spot his neighbor, Henry, and a few other men gathered around Henry's house. Seeing him, Henry waved. John, my friend, free? Come on in and have a few drinks to relax. Of course, John couldn't refuse. He nodded and walked over. Besides Henry, they were all people from the village. After a few initial drinks, one of the men in the group turned to John. John, how's your luck been lately? Don't even mention it. John poured himself a full glass of wine, tilted his head back, and drained it. I've been playing 213 for 3 months now, and it's never come up. I only had 200 in my pocket this morning, so I risked it all. And today, it came up 212. How unlucky is that? Oh my God, your gambling losses are nothing. Last year, I played 12 for a whole year, and it only came up once. The money I won was only half of my capital, but once you've committed, you have to follow through. Keep trying. Keep trying what? Where's the money to keep trying? Why like that? What if it comes out tomorrow and you regret it for life? Since you're already in it, go all the way. If you're short, we'll all chip in a little. If you win, we'll all celebrate. Henry interjected. Mark, you keep leading people astray. Who borrows money for gambling? John, my friend, don't listen to him. If you have it, enjoy it. If not, then just stop. But John didn't seem to heed his advice. While Mark got up to go to the restroom, John quickly followed him and whispered, Hey, can you lend me a bit? Sure, how much do you need to borrow? $1 million or $2 to bet for a few days. I have a feeling it's about to come out. $2 million is fine to lend, but I don't have cash on me right now. You can come over to my house tomorrow afternoon, I'll send it to you. Great, thanks a lot. We're friends, no need for thanks. I just hope if you win big, don't forget me. Of course, I've always been loyal to my friends. Agreed then, I'll drop by tomorrow. Yes, I know. Feeling a bit tipsy after the drinking session, John excitedly returned home. When he arrived, he saw Harry's motorbike parked in the yard. It was a bit surprising because Harry and Fiona lived over 100 kilometers away, only coming home to visit on weekends or occasionally. Plus, his son hadn't even called ahead. So John walked in and called out, Harry, you're home, son. Yes, Dad. When did you get back? I just arrived. I was passing by, so I thought I'd drop in to visit you and Mom. Also, there's something I want to discuss with both of you. What is it? My in-laws' house, where Fiona and I live, is old and needs to be rebuilt, so we need to demolish and rebuild it. After that, I plan to bring Fiona to live with us temporarily while it's being built. Just come home, what's there to discuss? But wait, there's more. Since we're moving back here, I also wanted to ask you and Mom for a bit of money to help with the construction. Since I got married, our living expenses have all been covered by Fiona's parents. You know my job, Dad. It's just enough to cover living costs, not much left over. Fiona plans to quit her job after the house is built to start her own business. So, if you and Mom could lend me a bit, I'll pay it back then. John frowned slightly at this. Where would I get money to lend you? Your mother and I only have enough to eat. Your younger sister, Nancy, is getting married soon. Your mother and I are saving up her dowry. If I lend it to you and it's not there when the time comes, what then? Oh, when is she getting married? I heard her boyfriend's family plans for the end of the year. Your mother and I have only saved up a few gold taels, not much. Harry was a little disappointed, but he just sighed. Well, in that case, I'll discuss it with Fiona, but for now, please let us stay here. That's fine, no need to worry. Our house has enough rooms. Before you got married, I even told you to bring Fiona here. But your wife didn't agree. It's not like we don't have space. I know, Dad. I bought some offerings for the ancestral altar. You and Mom can have them after dinner. Now, I have to go take care of some work. Poor boy, working as a clerk, earning peanuts, always traveling from place to place. After you quit and start your own business, you'll surely thrive. John nodded and said a few more words, then Harry drove off. For dinner that night, Nancy came home late from the garment factory. Sitting at the dinner table, Sarah turned to John. Did Harry tell you about bringing Fiona back here? Yes, but he also wants to borrow money from us. He already mentioned that. I told him we don't have any. You refused him outright like that. Of course, where will we get money to lend? Sarah, I feel so bad for Harry. He's been struggling so much. He graduated with a teaching degree, but because we're poor, we couldn't bribe anyone to get him a government job. He taught on contract for 2 or 3 years, got discouraged, and then switched to working as an assistant in a real estate company, but his salary isn't much. I thought everything would be stable after he got married, but he's called many times to confide in me. Fiona's family, they look down on him a lot. There was even a time when Fiona's mother spoke ill of our family. What? That woman dared to say that. I'm calling her to get to the bottom of this. No, don't call her. The more you talk, the more you lose face. You have to think about Harry, living as a son-in-law over there, he has to watch people's expressions. Fiona is caught in the middle. I don't want to talk about her family, but if they're going to be so disrespectful, why did they agree to let them marry in the first place? It's the children's feelings, how could you stop them? So now my point is, whether it's a little or a lot, we should help Harry and Fiona a bit. That way, if Fiona's parents ask, they won't be in an awkward position. So, your idea is to use the gold that's Nancy's dowry to give to Harry. Is that what you mean? That's right. Nancy isn't getting married until the end of the year. I know that if Harry hasn't paid us back by then, you and I will have time to figure things out. John pondered his wife's words for a moment, then nodded. All right, if that's what you think, then do it. I don't want them to look down on our family. I'm afraid to call Harry and tell him. I think since this afternoon, he's probably been sad after I refused him. Now, finish your dinner, and remember, no more gambling. Sometimes a few tens or hundreds of thousands don't amount to much, but accumulating small amounts can do a lot. You're starting again, let's just eat. A week later, as promised, Harry brought Fiona to live with them. Seeing her daughter-in-law, Sarah smiled warmly. You're home, was the trip tiring? Harry was busy untying the ropes on the back of his motorbike. Fiona stepped forward and replied, Not tiring, Mom. It was only 2 hours, what are you doing? I'm cooking dinner, let me help you. No, you two just got back, put your things away and rest. What help? Don't worry, I can cook for dozens of people. What's 2 of you? As Sarah finished speaking, both mother and daughter-in-law laughed. After putting away their belongings, Harry walked out. Where's Dad, Mom? Where else? He's probably at Henry's house, playing Chinese chess. He'll be busy with the rice fields in a few days, so he's relaxing now. And when he's relaxing, you never see him except at meal times. Dad's getting old. It's good for him to enjoy himself with friends, Mom. Good, where's the good? He can go wherever he wants, do whatever he wants. But I only hope he doesn't get involved in gambling. That would make me very happy. When will the house construction begin? The foundation and groundbreaking will be done in 2 days. But because the 7th lunar month is approaching, Fiona's parents are being cautious and said to stop construction then and continue after the month is over. Ah, yes, it's good to be cautious like that. Just then, Nancy drove home from her morning shift, taking the afternoon off before working overtime that evening. Seeing her brother and sister-in-law, Nancy was usually cheerful and affectionate, but this time she had a cold, distant expression. "Oh, Nancy, you're home from work. Why didn't you greet them?" Sarah said while plugging in the electric fan, but Nancy didn't stop. She kept walking and said, "Hello, brother and sister-in-law." Then she went straight to her room, opened the door, and walked inside. Harry was curious. "What's wrong with her, Mom?" "She's probably just tired from working so much. It was hot today, too. Don't pay attention to it. After she rests, she'll be laughing again at dinner." Harry nodded, but Sarah, in fact, understood her daughter's attitude better than anyone. A few days earlier, Nancy had accidentally found out that her mother would lend money to her brother and his wife for their house, and that money was her dowry. She was a bit unhappy, but since she wasn't married yet, she only showed her displeasure vaguely. However, Sarah never expected her daughter to react so directly and rudely. Meanwhile, John returned from the coffee shop at the end of the alley. Today he was in a cheerful mood because he had won several games of Chinese chess, getting free coffee while his opponents had to pay him 50,000 dong each. Like his wife, when he entered the house and saw his son and daughter-in-law, he smiled warmly and urged, "Harry, when are you going to have children so I can have grandchildren to hold?" "Oh my goodness, Dad, why are you so impatient? Fiona and I have only been married for 2 years. Let us finish with the house and work, then we'll think about that." "I'm just saying, children are a gift from heaven, you never know. Anyway, dinner is almost ready. Go wash your hands and feet. Nancy, go help your mother set the table." Sarah, who was in the room, said loudly, "The house doesn't lack people, let her rest, she's tired." Fiona then said, "No, Mom, let her rest, I'll help." "All right, that works too." A little later, when the meal was served on the table, Harry's wife, along with John and Sarah, sat down, but Nancy still didn't appear. John stood up and called out, "Nancy, come eat. What's wrong? Are you sick? Should I buy some medicine?" "It's nothing, just a bit uncomfortable. It's probably crowded, so the air is suffocating." "Why are you like that? Just come out and eat." Sarah quickly reached out and patted her husband's shoulder. "Just leave her, let her rest. She'll eat later, I've saved her some." "Indeed, you and Harry eat well." "Yes, Dad, I know. I invite you, Mom and brother, to eat." The meal proceeded in a cheerful atmosphere. After eating, Fiona even helped Sarah wash the dishes, leaving only John and Harry. John asked Harry about the new house construction. Harry didn't hesitate to share. The two father and son talked for a while, then there was a knock from outside. "Anyone home?" John looked outside, and Harry quickly recognized the voice. "Oh my goodness, it's Fiona's mother." "Your mother-in-law? Which one? I don't know." At this, both father and son stood up and quickly walked out. Indeed, it was Helen, Fiona's mother, standing there. Seeing her in-law, John smiled warmly. "Oh, my sister-in-law, you're here to visit? Why didn't you let us know so Harry and I could prepare to welcome you?" "No need, thank you. I was just passing by on business, so I dropped in to see how the two of them are doing, how they're living, not really to visit and announce it beforehand." "Ah, yes, please come in." John made way, not forgetting to call out, "Sarah, my sister-in-law, is here." Very quickly, Sarah and Fiona ran out. "Oh, Mom, when did you get here? I went to a village gathering for my uncle, so I stopped by here on the way back." "Yes, Mom, please sit down." As Fiona spoke, she picked up the teapot to pour. But Helen immediately frowned. "When you were at my house, you were so clumsy, always dropping things. But now you come here and act so diligent? What, my words aren't right? You're clever at home, foolish in the market, aren't you?" Sarah stepped forward and said, "Fiona, dear, sit down. Let me go to the kitchen to boil some water, the thermos is empty." "Yes, Mom." Fiona felt a bit awkward, then walked over to sit next to Sarah. Harry also sat down. "Helen, how's your husband and the children over there? All well?" "Yes, thank Buddha, everyone is healthy. I hope your family is the same." "Yes, we're all well, sister." Helen turned to Harry. "So, you're happier here with your parents, aren't you, son?" "Not really, Mom, I'm just normal. I didn't know you were so cheerful and excited earlier. I thought maybe my in-laws gave you a lot more money for the house than my husband did, that's why you're so happy." Harry put his hand to his head, scratching it. "What are you talking about, Mom? There's no such thing." Without saying anything more to her son-in-law, Helen turned directly to John. John, my in-law, you probably don't know about their new house construction, do you? I told him not to take money from you. My husband doesn't have enough money to take care of that. Fiona is my golden daughter, my precious daughter. How could I not take care of her? Helen's tone was gentle, and there was a smile on her lips, but John, of course, understood she was mocking them. To avoid an unpleasant argument, he could only force a smile. Sarah came up from the kitchen and interjected, "Yes, I know that, which is why I often tell Harry that he must be grateful and filial, not only to us but also to you, sister. To be honest with you, my husband and I don't have much. We only managed to contribute over 5 gold taels." 5 taels is a lot. Fiona, darling, hurry up and thank your in-laws. Who else would give your husband and you 5 taels of gold? Sarah quickly said, "Oh no, sister, I only lent this to Harry. This gold is actually Nancy's dowry for when she gets married at the end of the year." "Oh, so it's a loan. Fiona, is what your mother-in-law said true?" "Yes, Mom, it's true. This is a temporary loan from my parents. I'll repay it when my business is stable." "Oh, I thought it was a gift. If I knew from the beginning, I wouldn't have let you take it. Harry, return the gold to your in-laws. I told you, if you borrow, you return it. Do you want people to laugh at me? Do I not have enough money to build your house that you have to borrow?" "My sister-in-law, you can't think of it like that. Please calm down, I'll teach my son. And you too, Fiona, you make it seem like our family is so poor. I've already told you, go quickly and return that gold. If you're short, come to my house, I'll give it to you. No need to borrow from your in-laws like that. Anyway, it's getting late. I have to go. Goodbye, everyone. Harry, remember what I said." Helen immediately stood up and walked straight out. Fiona quickly stood up and ran after her mother. Inside the house, John's face gradually turned beet red. He looked at Sarah and muttered, "How humiliating." "Oh, calm down, don't raise your voice, Fiona might hear. What if she hears?" "What? You don't see how that woman looks down on our family." Calm down as a dog. Listen to me, I'll talk to Harry and Fiona. Now you go to Henry's house and play chess. Please, I beg you. Getting angry right now isn't good." John glared at his wife but indeed couldn't cause a scene. He stood up and walked out. By this time, Helen had already left. Harry looked at his father, stammering, "Dad, Dad?" John didn't respond. With a sad look at his son, John got on his motorbike and drove away. It was late when John finally returned, his body reeking of alcohol. Entering the living room, he looked around with bloodshot eyes. Sarah was sitting on a chair. Seeing her husband, she quickly asked, "You're home. Have you eaten? I'll go heat up dinner for you." "I'm not eating. Where are Harry and Nancy?" "Nancy is working overtime. She's not back yet. Harry took his wife to the town for some business. They'll probably be back tomorrow morning. Anyway, what about those 5 gold taels? Harry sent them back to us. So he listened to that woman, humiliating his own parents, didn't he?" "Don't say that, it's pitiful for Harry. I think he's just caught in the middle, he doesn't know anything. What's done is done. Please, I beg you, what can we do now? Let's just endure. Maybe after Harry starts his own business, if he succeeds, he'll be able to hold his head high." Just then, Nancy also came home from work. Seeing her parents and the gold in her hand, she immediately asked, "Oh, did Harry really return the gold?" "Yes, he did, you can rest assured. Your dowry isn't touched anymore. Wouldn't it have been better this way from the beginning? I already told Mom, it only causes trouble." John glared at his daughter. "And you too, you must be very happy, aren't you? From you, I only see this negative attitude, and you just keep quiet, don't you?" "Dad, you're truly amazing. Is there anything wrong with me being rational? You've seen Harry, haven't you? Do you want me to also be looked down upon by my in-laws? I've had enough of this impoverished life." John wanted to yell at his daughter, but something seemed to choke him. Helpless, he stood up. "It's my fault, it's all my fault. This poor family is all because of me. I don't have enough land or wealth to leave for them." He then stood up and walked out. Sarah called after him, "Where are you going, husband?" She followed him out, but John had already driven away. He went to the drinking spot at the end of the village where he had been drinking since the afternoon. Usually, he didn't like to drink, but this was like a way for him to escape the cruel reality. It wasn't that he hadn't tried, but from his great-grandfather's generation, the family had nothing. The few fields they had now were given by the cooperative after the liberation. For John and his wife, living day to day, toiling to raise their children and give them a good education, seemed like a miracle. Yet, now that they were grown, he still faced so much criticism because of his poverty. At the drinking place, before he could even sit down, the owner approached. "John, it's late, I'm about to close up. If you want a drink, you can buy a bottle to take home." "All right, give me a bottle of wine and some peanuts. I'll tell my wife to come pay tomorrow, is that okay?" "Yes, that's fine." A little later, John received the wine and peanuts from the owner. He got on his motorbike, intending to go home. He drove a bit, then stopped at the primary school near his house. Since it was a rural school, there were only 2 rows of classrooms on an empty plot of land, no fence or gate. He walked in and sat down on the steps of a classroom, tilting his head back to drink from the bottle. The bitter burning taste made him wince. Damn this dog's life, how could it be? He thought these futile curses wouldn't help, but suddenly, from a nearby room, someone sighed. The one sighing like that is truly pitiful. "Who's there?" John looked towards the faint yellow light from the round bulb in the schoolyard. He recognized the other person as an old man, about 70 years old. He was dressed like a monk, holding a string of prayer beads. Though drunk, John knew he had never seen this man before. "Who are you? Why are you here?" "Me, I'm on a pilgrimage to the nearby pagoda, but I can't go in until tomorrow for the ceremony. The pagoda is too crowded, and I don't want to disturb the monks. So, I decided to stay overnight in this unlocked village school." John just nodded, not paying much attention. He took another sip of wine, then walked over. "You're drinking wine? You smell good. Can I have a sip?" "Aren't you a practitioner? How can you drink wine?" "Oh, you misunderstand. I practice, but I'm not a strict monk who can't drink wine." "All right, sit down." After sharing some wine and peanuts, the old man, as they say, wine in, words out, became curious. "Oh, don't you have a home? Why are you sitting here drinking alone?" "I have a home, but I don't want to go back." "Good heavens, why? Having a home but not wanting to go back, that's strange." "What's strange about it? If I go back to that house now, I'll go crazy. So I'll just drink until I'm completely drunk, then fall asleep and forget about everything. That's best." "So you have something on your mind, don't you? Tell me, maybe I can help." How can you help? Worry about your old self first. Don't judge a book by its cover. Even if you can't help, if you just talk about your troubles, I'll listen, and it might lighten your burden a lot." John stopped looking down on him. He sighed, took another gulp of wine, and naturally he didn't want to hide his helplessness, so he just started telling his story. After listening, the old man clicked his tongue. "It's truly heartbreaking. If only I had no wife, no children, no relatives, it would be less of a headache. Ah, give me your hand, let me read your palm. I know a little about this skill." "Don't worry, no money involved, just share your wine with me, and I'll give you a little something in return." John was a bit suspicious, but then again, it wouldn't cost him anything, so he held out his hand. "Go ahead, see, when will I get rich?" John still had a bitter smile. The old man took his hand, raised it towards the light, and squinted. "It's not hard for you to get rich." "Oh, don't comfort me anymore. If getting rich isn't hard, why am I so poor and miserable?" "I'm telling the truth. Your palm lines aren't that bad. It's just that you haven't met your benefactor yet." "Benefactor? Where is such a rare benefactor? If you're so good, then tell me, when will I meet my benefactor?" "He's sitting right in front of you now." "You're joking, aren't you? What kind of benefactor? Seriously, you came here, it's fate. I have a way to help you turn your luck around and get rich, but not everyone can do it." "What is it exactly? Tell me." "If you want to know, I won't hesitate to reveal it. I know a magic spell that can help people change their destiny, turn their business around, increase their luck, and make everything they do successful. Sometimes, you just have to sit still, and money will come to you." "You're talking nonsense. If that's the case, there wouldn't be any poor people in this world." "You're right, but as I said, not everyone can do it. I just read your palm, and you are one of the rare few with good fortune lines. If I'm not mistaken, you were born on an odd day, odd month, odd year, weren't you?" John calculated. "That's right. I was born on the 5th of May, 1969. "I told you, I'm not wrong. People like you, if they just go in the right direction, will get rich." "Are you telling the truth?" I'm telling the truth. Then what should I do? Please guide me so I can change my life. I won't forget your kindness. I told you you don't need to repay me. This is just a chance encounter, so I'm helping you. If I cared about such things as repayment, I wouldn't be wandering like this. I'd be living in a big house with cars and chauffeurs. I don't know if you believe it or not, but people like me who practice the way carry a karma with them. Let me explain more clearly. This charm-making business isn't complicated. I will give you a charm. You take it home. For every member of your family, cut a lock of hair from each. Tie them up, put them in a jar, and bury it in a corner of your house. After exactly 15 days, the charm will be complete. Then, whatever you do will succeed. Even gambling, playing cards, betting on sports, you will never know failure. And usually, people who are helped like this don't gamble. They just buy a lottery ticket, sincerely pray with that jar. The next day, the jar will crack open. John's eyes widened at this point, his mouth stammered. Is this true? I told you, believe it or not. Why would I lie to you? I'm not taking any money from you. Besides, to draw that charm, I have to deplete my vital energy and strength. It's not easy. Then please help me. I owe you so much. If I have money, then my whole family can hope to lift their heads. I understand. Don't worry. It's too late now, so finish this bottle of wine and go home to rest. Tomorrow, around this time, come back here and I'll have the charm ready for you. So, you're not taking any money? Of course not. I've been talking until my throat is dry, and you still think I'm making charms for money. No, I didn't mean that. I just want to repay you. No need for such gratitude. I said, let's agree on this. I understand. Do you have a phone number or something so I can contact you? Look at me. Do I look like someone who has a phone? I'm old-fashioned about these things. A disciple bought me a phone once, but I didn't know how to use it, and I was afraid of losing it on the street, so I returned it. But don't worry. Tomorrow, around this time, come back here. I'll be waiting for you. I understand. What's your name so I can address you? My name is Thuen. Just call me Mr. Thuen. All right. After a while longer, the bottle of wine was empty. John said goodbye to Thuen and left. On the way, he didn't think much about what the old man had said. In fact, he still didn't trust it much. Or is that old man just playing a trick on me? There's no such thing as easy money in this world. Anyway, he just let it go. When he got home, everyone was already asleep. John quietly opened the door, washed his hands, feet, and face, then went to bed. The next morning, when he woke up, John had even completely forgotten about his conversation with Mr. Thuen the night before. Around lunchtime today, Harry and Fiona, Nancy, and John and Sarah were all present, but the 5 of them ate in silence. No conversation lasted more than 3 sentences. The suffocating atmosphere made John want to explode, but he really didn't know what to do but remain silent. He didn't finish his bowl of rice, stood up, and walked out. With a cigarette in his hand, he suddenly remembered the events of last night and pondered. Maybe I should take a chance. After all, that Mr. Thuen said it wouldn't cost me any money. At this point, he decided he would prepare the locks of hair from his family members. First was Sarah. This wasn't too difficult. While she was napping, he used scissors to cut a small lock and put it in a paper bag. The parts for Harry and Nancy were harder. John initially intended to take some of Fiona's hair too, but on second thought, she was his daughter-in-law. He didn't consider her part of the immediate family because she was the source of the problem. If it weren't for Fiona, his family wouldn't be in such turmoil and humiliation now. By late afternoon, John had only managed to get Harry's hair. Nancy wouldn't be home from work until late. The next thing John did was go to the market to buy a jar. He carefully calculated where to bury the jar, in a corner of the storage room where he kept his miscellaneous items, a place no one ever bothered with. Usually, Sarah only cleaned it at the end of the year. Time flew by. It was already past 9 p.m. John walked out and looked at his wife's shadow. Sarah called out, "Don't drink, you drank too much yesterday." "Don't worry, I'm just going for a walk." John sped to his motorbike, a cigarette hanging from his lips, and headed straight for the village school. On the way, he suddenly thought, what if I get there and don't see him? That would be funny. I spent money buying a jar and cutting hair. This thought became somewhat true when John arrived at the schoolyard and looked around, but couldn't find Mr. Thuen. He threw his cigarette butt down and muttered, "That old man really tricked me." He was about to drive away when he saw a figure emerge from the dark, small classroom. "You're here too early. Where were you going? You only came here to drink past midnight yesterday." "No, I wasn't. I was looking for a place to park my motorbike," John stammered as he got off his bike. "Did you finish the charm, sir?" "Yes, I did. I was about to take a nap. Come in, sleep deeply." John nodded and followed Thuan. As he entered the classroom, John grimaced. A rather pungent, fishy smell assaulted his nostrils. "It stinks, it's just a little bit of the smell of money." Thuan rummaged through his backpack for a while, then pulled out a dark red piece of paper about the size of an adult's hand. "Here, take this. This is the charm. Do you remember what I taught you?" "I remember. I've prepared everything." "Good, just be patient and wait. After 15 days, everything will fall into place, and you'll have plenty of money. I know, thank you, I'll try it." "It's not try, it's real. You need to be serious. Also, during the time the charm is being prepared, you must not let any woman touch it. Otherwise, it will have no effect at all." "I know, I'll remember." "Now you should go home. I also need to pack my things to return to my residence. If fate allows, we will meet again. Goodbye, go safely." After Thuan left, John started heading home. When he arrived, it was also when Nancy came back from work. She looked tired, her shirt soaked with sweat, her face pale. "What's wrong, daughter?" "I'm a bit tired. I think I'm sick." "Sick? Get some rest early. You've been working too hard lately. If you don't save money, how will you plan for the future?" John sighed when he heard his daughter say that, and it also made him more determined to complete the charm that Thuan had given him. After his daughter finished bathing, John quickly went into the bathroom. He found several long, dyed blonde hairs belonging to his daughter under the drain cover. He gathered all the hair from all three of them, put it into the jar, and buried it under the storage room floor. When finished, he stood up, clasped his hands together, and prayed solemnly. "I only pray to Buddha for everything to go smoothly." Time passed. Tonight was the 15th night, and the charm would be completed in just a few hours. From that day until now, John had been subtly mocked by his in-laws a few more times. Tonight, he lay sleepless on his bed, too excited to rest. He wondered if luck would come tomorrow. It was past 2 a.m. before he finally managed to close his eyes. In his dream, he saw his life transformed. He had billions of dong. His whole family lived in a grand villa. His in-laws even came to beg him for money. It was just a dream, but when he woke up, John still had a bright smile. Perhaps it was the morning sunlight streaming through the window that made him suddenly sit up. "What time is it?" He got out of bed, leaving his bedroom for the living room. The first person he saw was Fiona. "Good morning, Dad." "Oh, where are your mother and Harry?" "Mom went to the market early. Harry went to the construction site to see how far they've built. They'll finish this week and then pause for the 7th lunar month. So he went to check everything thoroughly and find a place to store the building materials." "Ah, you stay home. I'm going for coffee." With that, John went to wash up, then headed to the coffee shop for an iced coffee. He mused silently about his next steps. Then he saw a group of men gathered at the house opposite, playing cards. Of course, John wouldn't miss this opportunity to see if his charm was truly effective. He threw his cigarette butt away, calculated, then walked straight over to the other side. "Hey guys, can I join?" "John, sure, sit down. But just play a few casual games to pass the time, no serious betting, okay? My wife only gave me 100,000 yesterday." Of course, fun is the main thing. John sat down, and what happened truly astonished him. Because no matter what he did, the cards dealt to him were always excellent, and if it was a normal round, the other players' cards were much better than his. After a while, John stood up, feeling that he had tested enough. He didn't want to waste time playing petty card games anymore. Returning to the coffee shop, he scanned around, then saw a lottery ticket vendor inviting customers. "Miss," the vendor quickly ran over. "You called me, sir." "Yes, bring the lottery tickets. Let me see if there are any good numbers." "There are many, sir. Take a look. It's only 10,000 dong a ticket." John took the stack of tickets from the boy. After a while, he chose 2 tickets with the number 57 at the end, matching his birthday. Done, he paid and quickly returned home. The next step was exactly as Mr. Thuan had instructed. He went to where he had buried the jar, then knelt down, placed the 2 lottery tickets on top, and muttered a prayer. I, John, pray to Buddha and all the deities here to bless me with these 2 lottery tickets. I beg you, I truly beg you, O deities. After praying, he stood up, leaving the 2 lottery tickets there, then went out and locked the storage room door. At 5 p.m., the hour of the lottery drawing was approaching. John sat on the couch, fidgeting nervously. His eyes were glued to his phone screen, waiting for the results. Never had he felt time pass so slowly. And then, when the clock struck 5:30, the final sequence of numbers appeared. 5:57, John's eyes widened. The jackpot was a sequence of numbers ending in 57, with the preceding 4 numbers being 4201. All 4 of these numbers perfectly matched his 2 lottery tickets. What is this? To be sure, he immediately ran into the storage room, grabbed the 2 lottery tickets, and checked. 420,157, 420,157. He repeated the numbers 2 or 3 times, even carefully checking the lottery station and the time. It's true, I won. He rushed out, shouting at the top of his lungs. The excited sound made Sarah jump, almost dropping the bowl in her hand. What are you doing? Yelling like a madman. Sarah, we won the lottery, Sarah. Now it was Sarah's turn to burst into tears. She sat down on the floor, tears streaming from the corners of her eyes. Good heavens, are you telling the truth? It's true, we really won, Sarah. Oh, I can't breathe. Calm down, you're not well. John quickly took his wife to the hospital. News of John winning the lottery quickly spread throughout the small village. When the couple returned from the hospital, neighbors and relatives rushed over to share their joy. That night, their small house was filled with laughter and chatter. Everyone imagined the beautiful things they would do in the near future. John, when he noticed no one was looking, slipped into the storage room. There, he knelt down, clasped his hands, and prayed. Thank you, deities. No one replied. After a few more prayers, John returned outside. He didn't know that as soon as he left, from the spot where the jar was buried, a wisp of black smoke rose, twisting and swirling upwards to the ceiling. The crow of a rooster woke John. Sarah, lying next to him, urged, Get up, husband, get up. John slowly came to, realizing it was almost 6 a.m. He stretched for a long time, then sat up. Today was an important day because he and his wife, along with Harry, were going to the town to the lottery agent to claim the prize. Nancy also wanted to go along, but John didn't agree. He told her to stay home and prepare for the celebration party. A small, intimate party to invite relatives and neighbors. The 3 of them arrived at the lottery agent around 10 a.m., and it wasn't until early afternoon, after many rounds of verification, that the amount of over 3.5 billion dong, after taxes, was transferred directly into their bank account. For the first time in his life, seeing a number with more than 9 digits displayed on his phone, John finally stopped trembling. Sarah held Harry's hand. Harry, son, from now on, our lives have changed. Harry was also overjoyed. John had already discussed it with him last night and promised to provide capital for his business, as the amount exceeded all expectations. It was true that even in their wildest dreams, they never imagined such a thing. That night, John's celebration party was truly more lively than expected, with everyone's congratulations. However, as expected, some people asked for loans. John let his wife decide, because everyone there was a close acquaintance. Many times in the past, when John was struggling, he borrowed from them and they helped. Now it was their turn to help back, so it was the right thing to do. By midnight, John was very drunk. His wife and children helped him to his room. After lying down for a few moments, he mumbled a few words, then drifted off. In a hazy dream, he felt his body floating in midair. He saw a large dark cloud surrounding him. This dark cloud was strange because it made him feel cold and his skin tingled with pain. Along with it was a chilling, eerie laughter. But because he was too drunk, he only saw this much before sinking back into unconsciousness. It wasn't until past 9 a.m. the next morning that he woke up with a splitting headache. Walking out, he saw his daughter Nancy watching TV. Aren't you going to work today? Dad, what's the point of working anymore? Did you forget I took leave? Our family won the lottery. Why would you want me to sell my labor again? What kind of talk is that? Where's your mother and Harry? Mom went to the market to buy fruits and sticky rice to cook for the sticky rice dish. It's the beginning of the 7th month. Harry and Fiona went to the house being built. Today is the last day, so they're inspecting the handover with the workers and also seeing if the neighbors near the construction site are bothered. So, you stay home. I'm going to get coffee to sober up. This alcohol, it makes my mind feel fuzzy and uncomfortable. Yes. After washing up, John drove straight to the coffee shop at the end of the village. His appearance now drew everyone's attention and whispers. But he had nothing to worry about, as John was practically a tycoon now. So, he took a deep breath and boldly walked in. But before he could even drink half his coffee, a familiar figure outside the shop called out to him. "Dad, Dad!" It was Nancy. John was a bit startled and looked out. "What's wrong? Why are you yelling so loudly?" "Dad, hurry home, Harry. Harry had an accident." What happened?" "Dad, hurry home. Fiona just called me to say that Harry was pumping water to the house foundation when the pump leaked electricity and he got electrocuted. He's unconscious." "Good heavens, are you telling the truth, child?" "I'm telling the truth. Hurry home, they've probably taken Harry to the hospital already." Without a moment's hesitation, John quickly stood up and ran out. Before leaving, he only managed to wave to the shop owner to calculate the bill later. In the car with his daughter, John's heart was burning like fire. He even muttered prayers as he drove. "Namo Amitabha Buddha. I pray to Buddha to save Harry. Please protect him from this disaster." When the two arrived at the hospital, John rushed inside, then turned to his daughter. "You go home, stay with your mother. When she wakes up, tell her the situation, then we'll figure out what to do. Your mother is easily agitated. It's not good to tell her now." "Yes, I know. Drive carefully." "Yes." At this point, John ran inside, asked at the reception desk for the emergency room. It didn't take long for him to recognize his daughter-in-law's familiar figure. "Fiona, Fiona." "Dad," Fiona was distraught. "Are you all right? Where's Harry?" "Harry is inside," Fiona said, pointing frantically at the emergency room. Just then, he saw a nurse about to enter the emergency room. John quickly stood up and said urgently, "Nurse! Nurse, please go inside and ask the doctors to help me save my son. I will give you tens of millions as a tip. Please tell them to hurry." "Oh no, not tens of millions, 100 million will do, just as long as they help him." But before he could finish, the emergency room door opened and a figure walked out. "Excuse me, who is the family member of the patient who was electrocuted?" "That's me." John and Fiona simultaneously raised their hands. "Nurse, what happened?" The nurse looked at John's panicked face with a hint of sorrow. "Sir, we, the medical team, tried our best. However, he was brought to the hospital in a state of respiratory failure. His nervous system and cardiovascular system were severely damaged. He passed away at 10:15 a.m. Hearing this, John immediately cried out, No, 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 you've made a mistake. My Harry can't be dead. Nurse, please go back inside and ask the doctors to try again. You have all the machines. Do you need a specialist? How much money? I'll pay." "Sir, I'm afraid it's not possible. His body has already been transferred to the morgue. You can go down there to complete the identification procedures and take him home for burial." "No, no, I told you you're mistaken. My son, he's fine, you must save him." These words from John were completely meaningless because Harry was indeed gone. John and Fiona, when they came before his cold, stiff body in the morgue, couldn't contain their emotions. Fiona wailed, "Harry, Harry, why did you leave me like this?" John felt his heart constrict. He walked straight outside, his hands and feet seemingly out of control. He trembled so much that he stumbled and knelt against the wall. His phone rang. John took it out of his pocket. Seeing his wife's name, he hesitated, but by the third call, he couldn't stay silent anymore. "Where have you been, husband? I've been calling you forever. Where are you? Are you out gambling again? Come home quickly, I want to discuss something." "What is it?" "Do you remember Aunt Five from our side of the family? I just met her at the market. After talking for a while, I found out she has a serious illness and needs a fair amount of money for treatment. Since we won the lottery, Aunt Five wants to borrow about 200 million. I think this amount is within what we can afford. I wanted to discuss it with you. Where are you? Can you come home right away?" I'm at the hospital." "What are you doing there? Are you sick? I just asked Nancy, but she's acting strange today, just shaking her head and saying she doesn't know where you are." Sarah, listen to me, What? Say it, why are you stammering? I want to tell you, Harry is dead, Sarah. Of course, John's words not only made his wife not believe him, but she also scolded him. This man, you have nothing better to say, do you? Who uses their child's health as a joke? Will you stop it? No, I'm telling the truth, Harry is dead. John then began to recount everything. Only then did Sarah show some bewilderment. Finally, Nancy also confessed everything. At this, Sarah immediately screamed. What did you say? What happened to Harry? Her emotions reached their peak, causing Sarah to lose control, throw her phone, and collapse onto the floor. Mom, Nancy was once again frantic. She screamed for help from neighbors. Luckily, at that moment, a few people who had just returned from the fields ran over and helped Sarah, taking her to the hospital. How ironic. Just a few days earlier, Sarah had fainted and been hospitalized, but then it was from joy and happiness at the news of her husband winning the lottery. Now, this fainting was the ultimate pain. It was already afternoon when all the procedures were completed, and Harry's body was transported home. Sitting silently in the ambulance provided by the hospital were John and Fiona. The two didn't speak a word to each other. Nancy was assigned to stay at the hospital to look after Sarah, who had not yet regained consciousness after the great shock. News of John's son being electrocuted and dying quickly attracted a large crowd. They were already gathered inside the house. When the ambulance brought Harry's body in, everyone sighed with sorrow. Why did this young man have such a short life? He was still young, his business plans were still unfinished. Hearing these words, John looked distraught, his heart aching. About half an hour later, the funeral service arrived with a coffin. Now that money was no longer a concern, John chose the most premium and expensive service for his son. But even so, he felt that the money he had acquired was useless for his unfortunate son. It was late afternoon when the monk from the pagoda arrived. John, it's almost time for the ceremony. Are there any other family members not yet present? You should call them so everyone can see Harry's face one last time. My wife and daughter, Nancy. But my wife has fainted and is in the hospital. I don't know when she'll wake up. My daughter Nancy is there looking after her. If they don't make it in time, please proceed, master. But unexpectedly, as John finished speaking, there was the sound of a motorbike outside, accompanied by a panicked voice. Husband, husband. It didn't take long for John to recognize his wife's voice. It was Sarah. She had woken up and Nancy had brought her home. Pushing through the crowd of neighbors and relatives, Sarah entered the living room. Seeing the small bed with Harry's body on it, once again a wave of emotion overwhelmed her, and she lunged forward wailing. Harry, what happened to you? Open your eyes and look at your mother, Harry. Fiona, who had been trying to control her emotions until now, seemed to find a catalyst and continued to cry, joining her mother-in-law. Mom, Harry, he's really left us. Nancy then stepped forward. Mom, you're grieving and it's hard to accept the truth, but you have to think about your own health. The doctor said your blood pressure is very high, avoid strong emotions. You promised me on the way here that you would be calm. John was in immense pain but tried to comfort his wife. Calm down, don't cry anymore. Fiona, you too. Harry's death, it hurts us deeply, but we must be calm to arrange his funeral. At this point, the monk stepped forward. All right, the family is all here and it's time. The auspicious hour has arrived. Everyone stood up and moved aside. The monk then lit an incense stick and placed it in the bowl of rice and an egg prepared earlier. Next, he and the funeral service team began their work. One person changed Harry's clothes, another lined the coffin with clothes and blankets. They also prepared several bags of dried tea leaves to cover the body. When Harry's body was lifted from the bed and transferred to the coffin, the cries erupted simultaneously from Sarah, Fiona, Nancy, relatives, neighbors, and even John. No one could suppress their emotions at this sudden and unimaginable departure. Time slowly passed. Today was the end of Harry's first day of wake. Sarah was tired, so she was taken to a room to rest. Outside, John was sitting and drinking with close neighbors. By now, he had drunk so much that he couldn't count the number of cups. Henry, the neighbor, seeing this, said, "John, drink less, friend." "No, I have to drink. But this life is so cruel, Henry. Why do I feel more sober the more I drink?" "Calm down, friend, calm down." "How can I be calm, friend? I only have 2 children and everything was finally stable, even the money problem was solved. Harry didn't get to enjoy any of it. Calm down, Harry's death was a tragic accident, no one wanted it. Don't grieve too much. Now you have to be strong. If you continue like this, who will Nancy lean on? Women are soft-hearted after all. John heard these words of advice from his neighbor and felt a little relieved, but no matter what, he picked up the bottle of wine, tilted his head back, and drained it completely. A little while later, he passed out drunk right on the table, completely unaware of the world around him. In a hazy dream, he heard someone calling his name. "Dad!" Recognizing his son's voice, he immediately sat up and looked around. And then he saw it. Harry was standing right in front of him. But his face and appearance were terribly haggard. His clothes were torn and tattered, covered in small burn marks from electricity. "Oh my God, Harry." John was about to rush to Harry, who struggled to speak. "Dad, save me. They're torturing me so much. I'm so cold, Dad." Harry, John shouted, then suddenly woke up. It took him a moment to realize it had only been a dream, and he was lying in bed in his bedroom. Outside, through the window, it was still very dark. With a grimace, he raised his hand and slapped himself hard. John exhaled, so Harry is really gone. He didn't think much about the dream or his son's cry for help, only assuming that he was dizzy and had hallucinations. Getting out of bed, he went outside. In the living room, where the altar and Harry's coffin were, there were quite a few people sitting vigil. Among them were relatives who had been present since Harry's body was brought home. John wondered if their presence and help had any ulterior motive, but he was still very grateful. He approached and spoke. "Everyone, why don't you lie down and rest? It's almost dawn. I'll take over the vigil." A few people, seeing this, nodded and went to the back of the house to lie down. The remaining people stayed put, especially Henry. He reached out to his friend. "Hey, John, come here, you're awake? Why don't you sleep more? You were very drunk last night." "I'm fine, I'm well, I can't sleep anymore." "In that case, come here and have a few cups of tea with me." John nodded and walked outside, sitting on a small chair. The air was chilly, making him shiver a bit. When he had a warm cup of tea inside him, the warmth made him completely sober. Henry clicked his tongue. "Life is so unpredictable, isn't it, John? I still remember the night before Harry came to invite me for coffee. I told him that since he'd won the lottery, he didn't need to worry about money and wealth anymore. I urged him to have children quickly so he could have grandchildren to hold. He just smiled and nodded, saying he'd probably have good news this year. But Henry's voice trailed off. John heard these words and felt even more pain for his unfortunate fate. The two men sat like that until dawn. Nearly 4 days had passed, and by this afternoon, Harry's funeral had concluded with a tearful burial. Due to lack of sleep and irregular meals over the past few days, John's body was now almost depleted. When he returned home, only after placing his son's photo on the altar, did he immediately go to his room and lie down, utterly exhausted. Outside, the 3 women of the family sat huddled together. Sarah looked at her daughter-in-law, Fiona. "Fiona, there's something I want to talk to you about." "Yes, Mom, Harry is gone now. I don't want you to stay here like this, partly because you're still young and partly because you too didn't have any children. So, if you're willing, observe 3 years of mourning for Harry completely, then move on. And if, during that time, you find someone good enough to take care of you, I'll be at peace." "Mom, do you want to drive me away saying that?" "This is my honest opinion. I'm not driving you away at all. For the past few nights, every time I doze off, I dream of Harry." "You see Harry?" "Yes, I see him appearing, but it's strange." "Strange how?" "I see him standing outside, and his whole body is covered by a cloud or mist. And in that shadow, before Harry could say anything, he was swept away. But that's just a dream, it can't be real." Before Sarah could finish, Nancy interjected. Her words astonished Sarah. "What did you say? You see your brother?" "Yes, Mom, I see him even during the day. Are you telling the truth?" "It's true, Mom. On the day Harry died, I only saw him in my dream. But from yesterday until now, I occasionally see his shadow. Like when they were carrying the coffin, I saw Harry standing in the corner of the house, looking at me, stretching out his hand as if he wanted to say something. But everyone was noisy then, and you were crying so much, Mom, that I just ran to him and he vanished in the crowd. I thought it was just me, missing him so much. But now even you, Mom, see him." "Fiona, have you seen him?" I haven't seen him. I wish I could see him. I've prayed to him so much, hoping to meet him. How strange, Mom, this story. Sarah looked at the small altar of her son. Then she stood up, walked over, lit an incense stick, and prayed. Harry, if you're alive in spirit or dead, if there's anything you need to tell us or anything, just tell your mother in a dream. If you keep silent like this, your mother will be very sad. As soon as she finished praying, Harry's photo suddenly flipped over, making Sarah gasp and stumble backward. The incense stick in her hand dropped to the floor. John and Nancy rushed over, looking bewildered. Mom, what's wrong? Sarah couldn't speak at this moment. It took her a while to compose herself. Fiona then walked to her husband's altar, straightened the photo, her mouth still muttering prayers, then pulled Sarah to a nearby table. Mom, what should we do now? Sarah pondered for a while, then stood up. You two stay home. I'm going out for a bit. Where are you going, Mom? Let me go with you. Stay home. I'm going to Lin Fong Pagoda to meet the head monk and ask about Harry's situation. Sarah immediately left the house. When she arrived at the pagoda, she asked a young novice monk and was led to the back garden where the head monk was watering plants. Seeing him, she clasped her hands together. Master, do you have a moment? I need a little of your time. What is it? The monk turned to look. As Sarah explained her son's story, the head monk sighed. I heard about his passing the other day, but I was busy with pagoda affairs, so I sent other monks to perform the rites. Madam, your son's situation, I think it's normal, because his soul has just left and is still lingering around the family. Also, don't forget it's the 7th lunar month now, the gates of the underworld are open, and the spiritual energy is thick. So, the souls of the deceased can easily appear. Master, what should I do now? You should continue with your regular prayers, prepare more clothes, paper money, and offerings. For the first 7-day ritual, I will personally return to perform the prayer ceremony for him. And if the situation continues, you can bring your son's photo and leave it at the pagoda here, so I can chant scriptures and pray for him daily, so he can quickly be reborn. A young person who has passed away like that still has many attachments, how can he accept his fate immediately? Meanwhile, at home, John had just woken up from his midday nap. His head ached a little. He reached out to rub it, but more importantly, in his dream, he had seen his son again. The image of Harry was strange. He saw his son in the living room, his hands and feet tied. It seemed an invisible force was dragging him towards the back of the house. When it stopped in front of the storage room door, Harry knelt down, trembling, and if he looked closer, John saw his son being tortured. He wanted to step forward to rescue him, but the storage room door suddenly swung wide open, and Harry was pulled inside. At that exact moment, John woke up. What's wrong with me? It must just be a strange dream. So he dismissed it. His mind went back to the things he was planning, because Harry was gone and Fiona was only left with family out of loyalty and duty. The thing John cared about now was his second daughter's wedding. Nancy's future in-laws didn't care about the cautiousness of the 7th month, so the wedding would still happen at the end of the year. At that time, he would definitely use his money to host the grandest wedding ever. But there was one thing he could never have imagined. The very next day, after eating the meal Sarah had prepared, she called out for her daughter but received no reply. She initially thought Nancy had woken up late, but after 9 a.m., feeling a bit worried, Sarah opened her daughter's room door to check. And when she witnessed the scene inside, she almost fainted. Nancy was lying motionless on the bed, her limbs cold and stiff, her face distorted, her eyes wide open, her mouth twisted to one side, as if before taking her last breath, she had witnessed something terrifying. About half an hour later, John's house was packed with people, relatives, neighbors, and other curious onlookers. The police also arrived, cordoning off the scene and examining the body. But after a thorough investigation, they announced that they found nothing unusual in Nancy's death. They said she died of heart failure, and because she didn't get regular checkups, it wasn't discovered earlier. Lately, Nancy had also been eating and sleeping irregularly, so her condition had become serious. But no matter the reason, for John and Sarah, they could not accept it. Sarah fainted repeatedly next to her daughter's body, while John sobbed like a child. Not just one, but now both of his children were gone. That night after the first day of Nancy's wake, John was once again dead drunk. He didn't know how much he had consumed, but from sunrise until now, it was almost midnight, and there were at least 4 or 5 empty wine bottles scattered around. No matter what anyone said, he wouldn't stop. and when the wine ran out, John started to make a commotion. "Where's the wine? Go buy me some wine?" Of course, even if he offered money, no one would go buy more wine now. They used the excuse that it was late and all the shops were closed. After a bit more persuading, John finally agreed to lie down. Sarah, since the beginning of the wake, had been silent, like a mute person. Nancy's future in-laws also came to attend. It could be said that within a few short days, all the happiness and joy in John's small house had been extinguished. It didn't stop there. People began to spread rumors that John's lottery win was not a good omen, as if he had used up all his and his family's luck. Now, disaster had struck, just like the saying goes, winning the lottery means your time is almost up. Others speculated that after winning the lottery, John didn't do any charity work, only focused on throwing celebratory parties. But no matter what was said, it couldn't bring Harry and Nancy back. In his drunken stupor, John once again dreamed of his son. Harry was still tied up, kneeling before the storage room door, but now he wasn't alone. Nancy was with him. Both said nothing, only stared at him with tear-filled eyes. John called out to them, but once again that invisible force swept his children into the room. Waking up, not fully conscious of the dream, he jumped up and ran straight to the storage room. When he opened the door and stepped inside, a pungent, foul smell assaulted his nose. It was the smell that reminded him of the night he met Mr. Thewen. It didn't stop there. On the brick floor where the jar was buried, a red liquid was overflowing. That smell definitely came from there. "What the hell is this?" John walked closer, knelt down, and reached out to wipe the liquid. As it neared his nose, he felt the foul smell become stronger and stronger, like blood. But in this room, what could be bleeding? Before he could figure out what to do next, there was a loud cry from outside. "Sarah, Sarah?" Startled, John immediately stood up and ran out. And then when he reached the living room, he saw his wife lying motionless. On her wrist was a deep cut and blood was gushing out. "Good heavens, what is this, Sarah?" John and Fiona quickly rushed Sarah to the hospital. Luckily, she was brought in on time, so her life wasn't in danger. But when she woke up, she kept calling for her son and daughter. Nurses had to take turns watching over her, to prevent her from attempting suicide again. As for John, after connecting all the strange occurrences, he began to think about the charm he had made. It must be related to the turmoil that had happened in his family. But where could he find Mr. Thewen now? After a moment of thought, John suddenly remembered that he had heard the old man mention going on a pilgrimage to a pagoda, and around here there was only Lin Fong Pagoda. So, without hesitation, he drove there. Upon arriving, after explaining to the head monk and describing the old man, the head monk shook his head. "To be honest, sir, every full moon day and holiday, countless people come to the pagoda to offer incense and pay respects to Buddha. I cannot remember them all, but if you were someone close and frequently contributed to the pagoda, there is no one who matches your description. And as for what you said about someone making a charm to help you, I absolutely deny it. No Buddhist practitioner would ever do such a thing. But he truly helped me win the lottery, master. Whether the lottery win is real or not, I will not comment. However, I fear there is a hidden agenda in this matter. If you are willing, can you lead me to your house to see that charm, that jar?" "Yes, of course," the head monk returned with John, who immediately led him to the storage room. As the monk stepped inside, he was immediately enveloped by a surge of cold air. He quickly raised the string of prayer beads in his hand and muttered prayers. The beads continuously clacked as the monk chanted. Where he pointed, the buried jar began to vibrate. When the chanting stopped, the jar in the ground broke in half. John immediately turned to the monk. "Master, what is it?" "It's a demon. It's truly a demon, not a god or Buddha." That very day, the monk called several other monks from the pagoda, and they lit incense and performed a ritual. Those outside, hearing this, only thought John wanted the monk to perform a prayer ceremony for his deceased child. But inside the storage room, it was like a battle between good and evil. By early the next morning, when everything was over, the monk placed the broken jar in a yellow cloth from the main hall of the pagoda. He and another monk then carried it away. As for John, he now understood that his own greed and desire for wealth had inadvertently made a deal with evil. Or rather, the money he had acquired was exchanged for the lives of his loved ones. Another week passed, and Sarah was discharged from the hospital and returned home. Seeing his wife's gaunt and haggard face, John, of course, dared not tell her everything. But somehow, she knew and kept asking, "Husband, did you do anything wrong to this family?" Unable to hide it any longer, John finally confessed everything to his wife. After finishing, he knelt before the altar of his 2 children. "Harry, Nancy, forgive your father." In the days that followed, people often saw the couple organizing charity events, donating to pagodas, and distributing rice, food, and essentials to their neighbors. People even estimated that the amount of money the couple spent was almost equivalent to the lottery winnings John had received earlier. After doing charity, the two locked their house and left, their whereabouts unknown. Only on quiet, deserted nights would the surrounding neighbors often hear voices and mournful cries from inside the house. At first, people thought John and Sarah had returned, but when they approached, the sounds vanished, and the door remained securely locked. This afternoon, Mark left the coffee shop in a gloomy mood. For the past month, he had been gambling on the lottery without any luck. His business was also facing difficulties, and now he was running low on money, facing destitution and despair. He opened a bottle of wine and sat by the canal bank. When the bottle was almost empty and he was getting tipsy, Mark tilted his head back, looking straight up at the sky. "Heaven, you are so unfair. Are you trying to cut off my livelihood? Give me back my money. Give me back all my happy days here." Just then, someone replied, "You've only lost a few pennies. Why are you so disheartened?" Mark started, turning around to see an old man with silver hair sitting next to him. "Who are you?" "I am a traveler passing by. You seem despondent. I want to help you change your life." "What did you say? Change my life?" "That's right. The important thing is whether you dare to do it or not." After that, the old man leaned in and whispered into Mark's ear. Mark didn't know what he said, but his eyes lit up, and a mysterious smile appeared on the old man's face.